Hey there. This is a glitchless any percent speedrun of Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. This is my submission video for AGDQ 2017. So I will be doing this run and commentating during it, and during the commentary I will try to explain what glitchless any percent is and what the definitive edition of Ori and the Blind Forest is. So we'll go ahead and get started rather than waiting. So here we go. Alright. So the very first thing we're actually going to do right now as the game loads is we're going to press Alt-U on the keyboard, and that is going to hide the in-game UI. We're also going to enter a cheat code that the developers told us at AGDQ 2015 to change the color of Ori. This time we got a nice slate gray. Looks pretty good. So the beginning of this game is pretty consistent across all categories of Ori speedruns. We're just going to go through this early section, get our only required cell of the game. It's an energy cell, and that allows us to create save points. And then we will head to the weapon, the Spirit Flame, or Sane. We'll pick that up, and that will allow us to actually fight things and get the game started proper. So glitchless any percent, of course, is an any percent run, so that means we're going to beat the game as quickly as possible without, there's no requirements in terms of how much the game we complete or how much collection we do or anything like that. But glitchless is a restriction that we defined pretty recently as a community. And what that means is there's a number of ways that you can abuse the mechanics of this game to cause kind of unintended new things to happen. For example, skipping cutscenes that aren't really intended to be skipped or things like that. So this category prohibits all of those and makes it so that basically you have to use the intended mechanics of the game in the intended way. Now, there are still some sequence breaks and things like that you can do. So actually, you're going to see a lot of familiar tricks during this run. But some of the more esoteric glitches are not going to be able to be done. And then there's the definitive edition. So Ori and the Blind Forest has been at 2 Games Done Quick events now, and we're going for a third here. And in its vanilla version, you know, Ori and the Blind Forest was already a great game, but the developers were not quite satisfied, so they made a definitive edition. They released that in March 2016, which was the 1-year anniversary of the vanilla version coming out. And the definitive edition has several changes. It's got a new area called the Blackroot Burrows. It has 2 new skills, one of which is going to figure very heavily in this run. And it has several new abilities, 2 of which are going to figure pretty heavily in the run as well. We'll see those pretty soon. It also has fast travel between save points, which is also going to come in handy. And it has different difficulty settings, which will come into play in a little bit. So right now at the beginning of the game, I've been trying to manipulate my experience points so that I level up exactly here. And the explosion from the level up basically just deals a ton of damage to enemies around you, so it blows up all those brambles that were there, which means that I don't have to blow them up on the way back. And now we're going to get the first skill, which is called Wall Jump. It's pretty self-explanatory. Also, apparently we're more brown than gray. It's really hard to tell what color Ori is at the beginning of the game in the lighting conditions there. Anyway, regarding difficulty levels, we play this speedrun on the normal difficulty, and really all the Definitive Edition speedruns are done on normal. And there's not really a huge number of differences. Easy difficulty makes it so that enemies have less health, which is actually a real problem for a certain trick that we do in the run called the frog juggle. We can talk about that when we get there. So we don't run on easy. Hard difficulty kind of arbitrarily increases the health of enemies and increases the damage that you take. So it's not exactly all that challenging. Combat's not really a main focus of this speedrun because of how the game works. So as a result, hard difficulty doesn't really make it substantially better or more exciting. So again, we are trying to get to a specific amount of XP to get a level up at a specific time. I should probably be dead right now, but somehow I'm not. Okay, that's cool. That little section with the two spitters there, or two slimes there, is extremely dangerous, so I'll actually go ahead and save the game just in case I have any mishaps here. I believe I'm at 2 health, and I need 1 health to damage boost in this area, so I should be pretty good. This area may not be super familiar if you're only used to seeing the all skills runs, which are the most common category of speedrunning for this game, because this entire section is skipped due to a trick called the frog walk. Now we are actually going to do the frog walk in this run. It's going to come up in a little bit, but first we've got to go to the spirit tree and collect charge flame. So up until now, this run has pretty much proceeded according to kind of the intended casual path of the game. Very soon we're going to diverge from that. Well, sort of, kind of. We're going to head over to the new area in Definitive Edition, Blackroot Burrows. Technically, you can access that area anytime after getting wall jump. But in this particular category, you do it after getting charge flame. And there isn't really, like, it's not specifically required that you go there, so there isn't really a prescribed time for that. Also, this little cutscene here is not skippable, so it'd be a great time for donations. In any case, we're going to head over here and get charge flame, and then we'll head down to dash. As I was mentioning, I'm heading to I'm aiming for a certain specific amount of XP, and I'm going to use that to get a level up later on for the frog walk trick. So I really want to make sure that I'm at an exact amount of XP, and I have a couple options for how I get that. I think currently I'm on pretty good XP pace, so I should be okay. So charge flame, as you can see, is kind of explodey ability. The spirit flame Sane explodes when you charge up. I really did not want to collect that XP. That XP from that frog or Frankie is really, really unpredictable. Sometimes it will go flying into the air, and so you want to run on the ground under it. And sometimes it'll stay on the ground, and so you want to jump over it. But there's not really any way to predict it. Okay, I should be alright here. Yeah, I'm perfect. So since I have 25 more XP to level up, I'm about to kill 2 slimes that will grant 12 each. That will put me 1 XP shy of leveling, which is perfect. That's exactly where I want to be. So also while I was at that save point, I learned 2 abilities, Magnet and Rekindle. The Magnet ability is just going to cause XP and health drops to draw into me, so it's going to be more convenient to pick those up. And the Rekindle ability is going to allow me to reuse save points after I've dropped them. Now, theoretically, in a perfect speedrun where you never die unintentionally, you will never need that, but it's really nice to have, obviously, for, you know, any normal human who's not capable of playing this game perfectly. In addition, we are going to be going very deep down the blue tree there, as that is going to have the 2 key abilities of this run, air dash and then subsequently charge dash. But that's not coming up for a little bit, so we'll talk about that kind of when we get to it. There we need to be a little careful with those platforms because they just float in weird ways. So here in Blackroot Burrows, everything is dark. You're trying to light it all up with this orb. I'm actually going to wait. These lasers are insta-kill, kind of like quick beams, basically. So you definitely don't want to get hit by them. I'm going to miss this cycle. That's unfortunate. These platforms are on a fixed cycle, but it starts when you come onto the screen where they are. So it's a little bit hard to manipulate them, especially because you have to carry around this giant ball to light up these lanterns. You don't really get much control over that. Oh no! That's the second time that's happened to me in the past, like, 2 days. You get knocked off that platform. Obviously, you miss a cycle here. but it's not a huge deal. That slime is actually somehow, for me, more dangerous when I kill him than when I leave him alive. When I leave him alive, it's very easy to dodge the shots because I know exactly where he's going to shoot them, but for some reason when I kill him, every single time he snipes me. Alright, so we're just about done with the slow kind of auto-scroller-ish part of Blackroot Burrows, and then we're going to collect the dash skill. So that is one of the 2 new skills in Definitive Edition, and you're going to see very quickly that it changes the game massively compared to the vanilla version of Ori. In the vanilla version of Ori, when you were on the ground, you didn't really have any options for movement other than just either move forward, like just hold left or right, or jump constantly, or look for an enemy on the ground to use the bash skill to bash off of. And that could, you could go pretty fast. But in this game, when you get dash, you can go substantially faster. This gives you something to do while you're on the ground, and there's no other better movement method. And you're about to see how much faster it is. But this really revolutionized speedruns in this game and made it quite an interesting and compelling speedrun. So this is dash. As you see, you go a little bit fast. And now that we've got dash, we will now go and do the aforementioned trick called the frog walk. So the nice thing about the frog walk in Definitive Edition compared to vanilla is that there's a frog right here, conveniently placed, so that you can do this trick. He has other differences. He has more HP compared to vanilla Ori. He's got 10 instead of 20 instead of 12. Get over here. He also drops more experience. So that also makes the trick a fair bit easier. So the idea is we stand here next to this energy door. We have 2 energy. We drop it in. Then we level up while standing there and gain 2 energy back because leveling up refills their health and energy. And here we are. So this section is a lot less scary in Definitive Edition than it was in vanilla because, of course, you can dash. So it's very easy to get through there quickly and safely. So now it's kind of one of the first major obvious differences between a glitchless run and a glitched run. And that is that we have to go down here into this section of Moon Grotto and fight this mini-boss. In glitch runs, you can skip this because you can duplicate keystones and use those to open the door that is going to be coming up in a little bit. But in this category, I'm going to need to pick up this keystone. Also, don't mind that dude, he's not dangerous at all, as you can see. So these crushers are on a cycle, and you can pretty much always make the fastest cycle if you are coming back up from that mini-boss fight. It is substantially harder if you are coming from the initial drop without having to fight the mini-boss. Alright, so now we're heading to double jump, which is a skill that does exactly what you might think. So another little thing that I haven't really mentioned when picking up these skills, in a glitch run you would be capable of skipping the cutscenes upon getting those skills, or more accurately, you would be able to gain control of Ori during those cutscenes. But in a glitchless run, we can't do that because it's basically a manipulation of the way the game takes away control using save points kind of in a way that was not intended. That's just an example of the kind of things that are considered to be glitches in this category. There's a lot more glitchy glitches, but that's just one of them. But fortunately, as you can see here, there's still some sequence breaks that you can do. that have nothing to do with glitching whatsoever. So we just skipped an entire half of the Moon Grotto by doing that. Here I'm going to save because in this glitchless run, there are actually going to be rocks falling on me during this little section here, and these rocks are really dangerous, as it turns out. You can very easily die in this section. Oh, like that! Okay. We're fine, though. Everything's fine. Don't panic. Okay. And then we do want this HP, or this XP. So, obviously, 2 times already, I have made use of timely level ups to accomplish certain things. There was one at the Frog Walk, and of course there was one at the very beginning of the game. Now I'm going to be setting one up for the end of the Ginso tree, which is the first dungeon in this game. There's 3 main dungeons, and we will actually only be going to 2 of them. And at the top of the Ginso tree, which is the first one again, we are going to be making use of a timely level up to achieve a skip there. And in order to accomplish that, we are going to collect specific XP pickups. So there was the one just now during the escape. Then there's this one here. And we will be picking up another 100 in a very short amount of time. Right here. And this level up is actually pretty handy timing as well, as it kills that frog there. It's not specifically needed, but it's just nice to have. Alright, now that we got this, we are able to learn Air Dash, which is going to make the Ginso tree much better. Here we're going to wait for these things to cycle by so that we don't die. Oh, get off of me. Okay. So we've safely made it into the Ginso tree. There's going to be one major difference in the Ginso tree between this category and other categories of Ori that you've probably seen. And that is that we are going to be able to make use of Charge Flame in here, where normally you don't have Charge Flame by the time you come in here. Because you skip it earlier on. And in fact, we could have easily skipped it earlier in this run. But I have acquired it for a specific reason that will become apparent in a little bit. So as a result, I have it available. And as you might have noticed during the mini-boss back in Moon Grotto, Charge Flame has the miraculous ability to reflect enemy projectiles. And we are going to make great use of that here. Of course, first we're going to start with some very good-looking movement here. The Ginso tree with Air Dash is amazing. Alright, so here's one use of Charge Flame. We redirect this projectile into that log, and that allows us to skip having to wait for another cycle of that. And now here's the best use of it. We are going to kill this boss. Oh. We're gonna kill this boss real fast. So ideally I can of course do that in 2. I just happened to make a little mistake there. Alright, so I just do a quick XP check at that point, and I do have the correct amount of XP. Alright, now we're going to pick up the best ability of the game, which is, of course, Bash. So if you've never seen any speedruns of Ori, or even played the game casually, you might not be aware of this ability, but Bash is basically the marquee ability of Ori and the Blind Forest. It's the ability to grab onto a projectile or enemy or certain environmental object and redirect that object while also catapulting Ori in that given direction. So you point the arrow, and that aims Ori, and the projectile or enemy or whatever goes in the opposite direction of the arrow. So it's a really amazing ability that is very different from really any previous platformer that I'm aware of. Oh, that was a mistake. I might have just... Okay, I think I didn't just accidentally do a glitch, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, the goal there is definitely not to dash into spikes. It's to do something more like this. So... here's another mini-boss. Oops, that's not how you do this mini-boss. This is more like how you do this mini-boss. Oh, okay. I tried to skip a cutscene there by dashing all the way over the trigger, but it is a very wide trigger. So it's all good. Not a huge deal if you miss it. Okay. So here is why we were specifically trying to manipulate our XP. I'm going to put this frog in this little space here, kill him, and level up off of his XP. And that is going to break both of these bits of corruption at the same time. So I can entirely skip the right side room here. And now this is everyone's favorite part of an Ori speedrun, the water escape. With dash and air dash, this is pretty hilarious. As well as being substantially easier. We're still collecting a little bit of XP because we're going to want one more level up. Each level up gives us one ability point which we can use later in the run, and we still need the charge dash ability, so we need 4 more points. And currently we have exactly 1. So to make that up, we are going to collect 1 more level up and 2 ability cells. Here we actually have to specifically turn the UI back on, or else the game will soft lock. Well, not even soft lock. It'll freeze for like 10 seconds. It's really weird. Alright, so here's another diversion between this run and a glitched run. In a glitched run, we would be able to do a trick called Drainless to bypass having to do this stuff that I'm doing right now, which is to drain that. We would skip that entirely. But in this glitchless run, we cannot do Drainless because it involves a glitch called a save drop. So as a result, we must drain this thing. And then again, because we don't have... Excuse me. Because we don't have keystone duplication, we need to come down here and collect the 2 keystones. So multiple reasons that we have to come down here and do all this swimming crap, and I really would not like to take all this damage because that sort of thing will happen, but that's why I saved here, so it's fine. Oh, that cycle! Oh. Alright, that's unfortunate. Alright, better cycle this time, maybe? Yeah, we're good. Okay. Okay, seriously though? Enough spaghetti? Someday I will get through this. This actually isn't even that hard of a section. But this game is very deadly, so it's very possible to die all the time. It's actually a good time to note that, of course, obviously we don't run this game on hard difficulty, and this kind of should show you the reason why, like, that doesn't really matter. Like, hard wouldn't be that much better in any, like, competitive sense, because you already die so quickly, because in order to go fast, you're going to skip every health cell anyway, basically. I've picked up one so far in this run, and that's actually as many as I'm going to get. That is my entire capitulation towards safety. So being on hard wouldn't actually up the stakes that much. It would just make it slightly more stupid. Alright, so we've gotten to the stomp ability now. We're going to do a very small skip here called the Rhino skip. Normally you have to go over to the right and fight this Rhino mini-boss to make your way back out, but you can just use a damage boost here and do that instead. Alright, so here's our last level up. For one more point. And now here's our first instance of fast travel. Instead of having to backtrack all the way through the spider caves and stuff like that in order to get back to the Valley of the Wind, we can just teleport. And even though that teleport animation is extremely long and slow, it's still faster. So here's our first of 2 ability cells that we're going to pick up. And then this stomp thing is actually new in the Definitive Edition. It creates an actual wall that prevents you from advancing to where you get the feather unless you have stomp. Presumably there was some sort of casual sequence break that was possible otherwise, so they put that in. But I find it kind of unfortunate in terms of the effect that it has on the speedrun. You can still get through there without stomp, technically. Alright, so here's our last ability cell. Please? There we go. And now we're heading to pick up Kuro's feather. So it's definitely a good time to mention that if you've seen most categories of this game, you're aware that there's a trick called Sorrow Bash, which allows you to enter the Sorrow Pass area, which is where the keystone for the last dungeon is, before you've even touched the second dungeon. And maybe to some of you, you think like, oh, that must be a glitch. Well, it actually isn't, but most of the ways that we use to get into Sorrow Pass do involve some glitches. But it turns out with the Charge Dash ability, which causes you to dash very quickly at any enemy within within range and deal damage to them. With the Charge Dash ability, we are going to have the capability of getting in there without having to use any glitches at all. So we're going to make our way back up. And sorry, Forlorn Ruins, but you're still going to be pretty forlorn. So far, the only category I've managed to make up which actually has Forlorn Ruins in it is the 0 XP category, which I will also be offering. Alright, so we'll make a save here just for some safety. We're going to charge up a Charge Dash. We let that bird damage boost us. Charge Dash into him, and we're in. Ooh. Actually wanted to grab that bird for a bash, but it's fine either way. Alright, so now we're into Sorrow Pass. And one very nice feature of Air Dash is that when you use the feather, it immediately restores your Air Dash. So we're actually going to make use of that in a little bit for some insanely dangerous or navigation, movement, whatever. Alright, so here is another use of Charge Dash, which fortunately costs very little time to fail, since we're able to make a save point right before it. And we're going to make use of a trick called Frog Walk. But unfortunately to do this, or sorry, Frog Filter, but to do this, I need the frog to not take the damage from that shot that I accidentally threw at him just a moment ago. So this is pretty precise in terms of the different things that you need to do. Okay. So I broke that little ceiling over to the right side. Ooh. Now we're going to put this ball where it needs to be to block off that laser. Gonna send the frog over here. And now, up we go. Now I do want to be careful with my aim here, because if I send the frog into the spikes accidentally, he will die instantly. But it's not very hard. You just have to get a good directly downwards angle on your controller and then just keep shooting. And now we're doing some insanely risky dashing through an area with spikes that will all instantly kill me. And I have no energy, which means I can't make a save point. Alright, but we got the charge jump, no problem. Now we're going to make our way out, of course. Float directly into spikes, which is unfortunately a thing that sometimes happens. Okay. This movement is insanely hard if you want to do it fast. Unfortunately, we're having a bad old time with it. Okay, let's just go a little safer this time. In a marathon run, I would try that pretty much once, and if I died like that, then I would just be like, okay, now we're just gonna do safe movement. Of course, I also might just reset this. Yeah, this is a lot of failure for a submission video. I haven't practiced this in a while either. Well, we made it. But at what cost? Anyway, so we're now heading up towards the Sunstone, which is the key to the final dungeon. We jump there to just kind of bypass a slowdown trigger that would cause us to have to walk slowly into this spot afterwards. It's a nice little time save there. And there's our Sunstone. And now, unfortunately, because this is a glitchless run, we can't skip this cutscene. So this would definitely be the time for people to read donations and such. As for me, I'll just put the controller down and relax a little bit. Coming up right after this cutscene, we head to the final dungeon. And the final dungeon is definitely extremely challenging. In the All Skills run, which I did SGDQ 2015, you have to do the entirety. I'm sorry. Let me collect my thoughts and start again. In the All Skills run, which I did in SGDQ 2015, you can skip the entirety of Mount Horu by using a glitch called Save Anywhere, which allows you to do another glitch called Save Dropping, which allows you to bypass the lava at the bottom of the dungeon. But we can't do those glitches because this is glitchless, so instead we actually have to do every room in Horu. There's a lot of rooms in there. They are all very dangerous, and all the spikes in them deal 4 damage, and I only have 4 health. So there's a huge, huge chance of death at all times in Horu. So it should make a pretty entertaining part of the run, but also, of course, very stressful. Oops, that is an incorrect fast travel. So I wanted to travel to Thornfelt Swamp, which is a save point that we picked up way earlier in the game, back before I went to the Ginso tree. This happens to be the closest save point to the entrance to Mount Horu. So traveling to here is definitely the best. Ow. Well, that's bad. Huh. I didn't know you could just kill that guy. Alright. So all that failure getting back from charge jump only cost us about a minute and a half, so that's not that bad. In any case, now begins the real challenge. Everything before now is kind of easy compared to this, in some ways. I mean, some parts like Sarabash are not easy per se. So here we're just trying to make our way through here without letting the lava elementals that we really specifically want to keep alive die, because we need all of their projectiles. And here's one more unskippable cutscene. And after this unskippable cutscene, we are going to be deep into the challenge of Mount Horu. So it's not really any major differences in Mount Horu between the original version and the Definitive Edition. It's all very familiar to everybody, but that's, of course, if you have actually played the game. If you've only watched speedruns, then this is all brand new to most people, because the only category that really features going through all of Horu is 100%, and no one runs 100%. So getting back here looks a little bit scary. Actually not that hard, but I might have messed up a little bit. Fortunately, we can recover. Jumped a little too early there. I want to jump around there. So now we're good. Okay, I gotta remember that that dude just shot a projectile at the door. Okay, well now it's fine. Actually, I'm not sure if it's fine. Also, please stop dying. Ori. So this is a room where the casual solution is very different from the speedrun solution. I actually don't remember exactly what the intended casual solution is there, but it involves moving those platforms back and forth more than one time, and that's a waste of time. Alright. Oh. Yeah, so remember how I said that the spikes will all kill me? They will all kill me. That was not a mistake. Oh, please. Oh, I'm having a bad time here. Alright, so we stomp there to break both of those dudes simultaneously, and that's just going to make the rest of this room a little bit easier. Vaguely. It's very minimal difference. But the point of this room is that we need to get every single one of these enemies killed. And there's a lot of them. And we have to use their projectiles both to navigate the room and to kill them. So it's a little bit scary. Missed. But fortunately, that one went very smoothly. Also, I get to do the swag, have the top two guys kill each other, which is always fun. I also collected a little extra energy on the way out to make sure I'll be able to save the game a few more times as well, you were seeing what it looked like if I didn't save the game. And in fact, there you see it again. I lose a lot of progress when dying. I need to stop forgetting what room is coming up next and what's involved in that room. Oh my goodness. So the idea of this room is normally you're supposed to activate that laser there, and that will destroy this little barrier here that prevents you from plugging the lava. But you can actually just stomp that barrier, and there's a safe spot where you can stomp it and not fall in the lava and die. So that's that. Alright, so this room is easily one of the more challenging ones. Again, there's a lot of juggling projectiles. Oh no, oh boy. Okay. And yeah, those projectiles break most of the platforms in here, so as you're going by, if a projectile happens to hit a platform that you're trying to land on, you are in for a bad time. Alright, so we completed 3 of the left rooms and 2 of the right rooms. So now we're going to go on, give me that, to the right side. And we'll just dash right through that guy's hitbox. Make sure I don't die to that. Alright. So we have names for all the rooms in Horu. They're not exactly very imaginative names. Each room is named either R or L, depending on whether it's on the left or right side. I mean, right or left side, respectively. And then 1, 2, 3, or 4, going from top to bottom. So the top room on the right is R1 and so on. And this room, R3, is one of the harder ones. But it's not because it's especially like complex movement or anything like that. It's just that it's very easy to mess it up. Climbing that platform that automatically moves is the scariest part. Normally you're expected to use the climb ability to just grip either side of it, and you can stay in place without worrying about sliding off. But in this category, we don't pick up climb, which means that you don't get that safety. Speaking of safety, Alright. So here's the room we are going to do a pretty neat sequence break if I can avoid dying. There's a bunch of stuff over to the right that I don't really want to do, so I'm going to skip it. The way I'm going to skip it is by bashing off that projectile directly into this space. The reason that works is that we're able to charge jump in chase of the projectile by shooting it in an angle that puts us directly into the ground so that we don't actually fly into the air. So that means we can immediately jump after doing it. So otherwise that would not be possible. Alright, and then L4 is, oh god. Alright, sure. Actually not a very challenging level, especially because back in the day of older school all skills runs, we had to do this room every time. This is one of the few rooms we had to do. Even when we found more and better room skips, we still had to do this room. But nowadays, of course, everyone forgets how to do it. It's actually not super dangerous or anything. As you will see, there's lava chasing me, but you wouldn't even have noticed it. Oh, until just now. Yeah, it's pretty slow. Oh boy. Okay. So that concludes all the rooms of Horu. And now we are going to head down to the bottom where we are going to play the final escape sequence. Okay. If Ori will charge jump. Hello? Alright, there we go. Had a little problem with projectile redirection there, but we're through now. Go in the door. Alright, so this is the final escape sequence. It's basically like the other escape sequences in the game. It's a one-shot, you've got to get through all these different obstacles and so on. I have exactly 4 health, and that means I can take 1 hit from a number of certain kinds of things. But it also means that other things will kill me instantly. Like, of course, that fire is an instant kill. Hello there. And speaking of fire, this fire is also an instant kill, so that's not really a thing that we want to have happen. Get a nice little dash glide off of that projectile. So I never really talked about dash gliding in this run, but it's a pretty well-known technique. Basically, you preserve your speed from a horizontal dash by releasing directional input. It's something that we do in all runs of this game. It doesn't really classify as a glitch, and please. There we go. Okay. So that's the end of the actual, like, gameplay. There's still a kind of auto-scroller sequence here at the end where you've got to walk a bit and see some dialogue and things like that, but we're basically done. All I have to do at this point is hold right. So, hopefully that commentary was sufficient to convey the concept of what this run is. Obviously, there were a fair number of mistakes, mostly of the kind of, you know, type that I made in my all skills run back in SGDQ 2015. The same kind of like, oh, you know, trick gets in your head, you mess it up a couple times before actually doing it right. So this would be pretty much within the level that we would expect a run like this to take. So I'll probably be submitting this with an estimate of 55 minutes or so, and as you can see, even with a fair amount of swap, it should be very unlikely to take that long. And of course, I will also be practicing this quite a lot, so I would expect to be able to reduce that estimate to, at worst, 50 minutes. And time ends when you lose control of Naru here as soon as you pass behind this tree, which is now. So there you go. So that's a 50-13, which is actually a PB for me because I have not ground enough runs in this category. But that is Glitchless any percent. Of course, it bears a lot of similarities to the all skills category of runs, other than the use of glitches like double bash and door warps and things like that. If you're curious what those look like, I highly recommend you go check out an all skills run. I'm sure someone will be submitting it for this event as well. But I really like this run as a change of pace from the more glitch heavy runs. It's you know, it's more what people kind of expect when they say like, oh, what does a speedrun of Ori and the Blind Forest look like? Well, this is what it looks like if you don't like create new mechanics using glitches and stuff. So it's really cool. Anyway, as I traditionally do, I will let the credits play out, but my commentary is concluded, so feel free to enjoy the lovely cinematics and credits and music, and thanks for considering me.